As a real estate investor, you want to have all of the tools necessary at your disposal when making offers to sellers and securing contracts, and one of those tools is a document called a letter of intent. On this video, I'm going to break down for you what a letter of intent is and when and how to use it when making offers to sellers. And be sure to stay to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how to get my exact letter of intent for free. All of that and more coming up.
This video is brought to you by Flipster, the nation's #1 real estate software with tools for finding, funding, and flipping houses. Check it out now at getflipster.com.
If you're new here, my name is Jerry Norton, and I've been a full-time real estate investor now for over 17 years. Amongst other things, I specialize in flipping houses all across the country, and I've helped thousands of new investors get in the game of flipping and create 6-figure and even 7-figure incomes. If you want to learn how to flip houses so you can live your dream life, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. Okay, there are 2 different methods to secure a deal with a seller. The first method is to verbally discuss price and terms with the seller, and then once coming to a verbal agreement, you send the seller a written contract called a purchase and sale agreement, and both parties sign. The second method is to do all negotiations in writing. With method 2, you, the buyer, would send a written purchase and sale agreement to the seller with your price and terms. The seller would then review your written offer and then counter back in writing. You would review his written counter and counter back in writing, and this written back and forth would go on until both parties come to an agreement, or don't. Either way, once both parties sign, you now have a legally binding agreement. By the way, if you're a wholesaler or a flipper and you don't have a really good purchase and sale agreement to use with sellers, you should use mine. I've been fine-tuning mine for over 15 years, and it's the ultimate wholesaler contract, and I'll give you mine for free. Just go to wholesalercontracts.com to download that right now. And if you want to watch a step-by-step video for how to fill out my ultimate wholesaler contract, I'll put the link to that video in the description below and you can check it out later. But when it comes to securing contracts with sellers, method 1 of verbally negotiating first isn't always the best strategy because something could be left out or misunderstood, and neither is method 2 of going back and forth in writing using a purchase and sale agreement because it can be time consuming to fill out and there is a lot of legal jargon and verbiage for the seller to sift through and review. And that's where a document called a letter of intent comes into play. Now, a letter of intent is a short, non-binding 1-page list or summary of price and terms. Non-binding means it's not a legally binding agreement. The idea is that you, the buyer, present a written, stripped-down bullet point list of price and terms to present to that seller. Now, this can save time from filling out a normal purchase and sale agreement, but more importantly, it makes it really easy for the seller to see what you're offering. Now, in a minute, we'll review my letter of intent with all of the standard terms that you want to include, but my favorite time to use a letter of intent is when I make a creative financing offer, such as seller financing or subject to. Now, the reason why is because with creative financing, there are more terms involved than a standard cash offer, so a letter of intent makes it a lot easier for a seller to review and understand your offer. Now, if you are unfamiliar with creative financing strategies, I highly recommend you learn them because they will give you so many more options to put deals together. Now, I've done several videos here on my channel all about creative financing. Just go to the creative financing playlist here on my channel. I also put together a step-by-step guide that explains in detail all of the different creative financing strategies. To download that for free, just go to creativefinancinghacks.com. After sending the letter of intent to a seller, if he agrees, he can simply sign it. Again, that doesn't commit him. Remember, it's non-binding. It only lets you know he agrees to your price and terms and is ready to move forward to a bona fide purchase and sale agreement. At that point, you would write the offer and both parties would execute. Or the seller could counter your letter of intent by letting you know what price or terms he wants to counter. What I like to do is have the seller cross out and handwrite his counter right on the letter of intent. Then you can take the agreed upon price and terms in that letter of intent and fill out a purchase and sale agreement for both parties to execute. So now let's take a look at my letter of intent. Now I actually have 3 different versions. Let's start with the easiest and most obvious, and that's a cash offer letter of intent, and then we'll review a seller finance and a subject to letter of intent. And be sure to stay to the end of this video because I'll show you how to get these for free. Okay, so I have here up on my screen the cash offer letter of intent. So first you have the date here, and then dear, and then in this blank here, you would put the seller's name. And then you can see here it reads, this is an official letter of intent to purchase your property in its current as-is condition located at 123 Main Street for all cash. Contained herein are the price and terms as follows. So you got your offer price, I put $100,000. You got earnest money deposit if you're gonna include that. I put $500. Close of escrow on or before. And then I like to put, whatever days you wanna take, because remember, this is the letter of intent, which means you now have to create the purchase and sale agreement. And at whatever point in time you do that, you wanna start on the clock. So rather than say, September 1st or June 2nd or whatever, I put 15 days or 30 days or how many ever days from accepted offer. Inspection contingency, if you want that and you want a window of time that you can do an inspection, you could put in there 10 days. If you don't, just put NA or 0. Closing title escrow or attorney, I put the title company, that's your wholesaler friendly title company that you want to get the seller to agree to close with. Closing fees to be paid by, and then you could put here buyer if that's how you want to do it. If you want the seller to pay the fees, you could put that. Typically though, we put that the buyer pays the fees. And then you got a line here for any other terms. And then you put your name here, your email, your phone number, and then right here is where the seller could sign. Now notice here, I don't have all of the terms, right? I don't have things like, access to the property or, I want the appliances included. This isn't everything. It's just the main things of the offer that you want to make sure the seller can just see at a glance. So that's the cash offer letter of intent. Again, I don't use this one as much. It's still great to use if you want to just get a really simple, breakdown of your offer to the seller. But the second one here, the seller finance letter of intent, this, as you can see here, it has a lot more things. So I like to use it for any of my creative financing. So let's go through this one. Date, seller's name, address. Right here it says with seller financing. Contained herein are the price and terms. Offer price $100,000. Down payment, if you're going to put some money down, $10,000. If you're doing 100% seller finance, you would put 0. Seller finance amount would be the difference. So $10,000 down would be $90,000 is the amount that the seller is going to finance. Length of loan, balance due in full, I put 5 years. Interest rate 5%. Monthly payments, interest only. Now, if this is going to be just paying the interest payment, would be $375 at 5% on $90,000. Total annual payments are going to be $4,500. Total payments over the length of the loan. So if you take 5 years, paying $375 a month, that's going to be $22,500 that the seller is going to get over 5 years, which means the profit to the seller is going to be the total payments of $22,500 plus the purchase price of $100,000 means the seller is going to get $122,500 if he's willing to wait 5 years, right? Because you add the interest plus the total price, that's what he would get. I like to break it down this way because I want the seller to see, look, this is a good deal because look at how much you're going to get over time versus right now. So then that would have that. Other terms if you wanted to include those. And then I've got here, during loan term, buyer responsible for all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and utilities. You just want to clarify that. And then here's kind of a little note to the seller. You pay no closing costs, no fees, no commissions, and we close on your timeline. If this is something that interests you, please sign below and we'll draft an official agreement. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help you, and then the seller could sign right there. Okay, so again, it's just a real great breakdown of all the terms. The third version would be a subject to. So again, you got the address, you got the seller address, or you got the name of the seller, the address here, and this is subject to existing financing. Contained herein are the price and terms. Offer price would be $99,250. Take over an existing loan balance of $88,000. Let's say, I'm just making these numbers up, right? Take over the existing monthly payments of $625. Let's say that's the payment. Cash to bring loan current. This would be if they're behind on payments. I just made up a number, $6,250. And then cash to the seller at closing. If you're going to give some cash for keys or you want to try to get a little bit of money in their pocket, you could put that there. It doesn't have to be. It all depends on the numbers. I put $5,000. So if you think about it, if I add 5,000 plus 6,250 plus the loan balance of 88,000, the total price for these three things would be 99,250. Okay, so again, if you're unfamiliar with subject to or seller financing, I've got videos. I've got a really good guide that I mentioned earlier that you can get. But then that kind of spells out those terms. Buyer to assume all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and utilities. And then again, I say the same thing. You pay no closing costs, no fees, no commissions, and we close on your timeline. If this is something that interests you, please sign below and we'll draft an official agreement. And then they can sign right there. So if you want my packet of letters of intent, go ahead and leave a comment and say, Jerry, you are a flipping genius. Give me the download link and I'll reply with that link. Now, one final word of caution before using the letter of intent. I suggest not using it if the property that you're interested in is a good candidate for multiple offers. In a multiple offer situation, submitting a complete purchase and sale agreement is the best strategy, or you risk losing the deal. Okay, next I want you to watch a video where I break down how and when to use an option agreement when negotiating and making offers. It's another powerful tool in your toolbox, so watch that now, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel. With over 750 videos, this is the #1 channel on YouTube for all things flipping, and I'll see you on the next video.